Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshop. So today I am going to be working further along on this little bit of a lamp project, my little test project that I've been working on in several other videos. The one where I did the cattail leaves and I did the decorative base. So today we're going to work on the stem portion. Now this is just a scrap piece of 5/8 outside diameter tubing that I had laying around the shop. It was essentially, I bought this with a whole bunch of other scrap, so I don't even know what it's made of really. I'm assuming it is a mild steel tube of some sort. I guess we'll find out on that. But today we're going to go ahead and bend this up, and I'm going to show you the jig that I use to be able to bend this thing up, and I'll talk a little bit about it when we're making our first bend. Thanks for watching. Okay everyone, so here we are at the vise. The first step in this process is any time that you bend tubing, you have got to provide support for around the bend of the tube to stop the sidewalls from collapsing out on you. Now, this might prove a little interesting because it looks like somebody was doing some sort of generic lathe work on this piece, testing out a lathe of some sort. And so there's some thicker and thinner spots here, and that might actually give me some troubles, but we'll have to see how this works out. So basically what I've constructed here is just a piece of angle iron. So I bent the angle iron to about the shape, since it bends easier than tubing does, about the way I want the curvature to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to heat this whole piece up right in here where I want my bend to go. And then I'm going to lock the whole thing in the vise, just like so, the cold bit. And then I should be able to take and grab and bend this right on around. That is the ideal. Now I've already done it before where I had this locked in the vise like so, and then I just kind of clamped on it and then pulled this around. That worked okay, but it wasn't as handy. So something like this is going to work better if you do where you clamp the whole jig and pipe, take that few seconds to lock it down in the vise, and then go ahead and bend this around. Now, with that being said, you can see this is just open air, nothing supported. Well, we're not really trying to hammer against this. This is meant to simply just hold the shape of the pipe and stop it from collapsing as much. Now, in my earlier tests on a much larger section of pipe, I did find that the pipe tried to collapse a little bit because it was a lot larger than this. I haven't tested this yet, so we're going to see how this goes. If this doesn't work out, I'll be back to the scrap yard and I'll have to go actually buy me some tube because I don't have any laying around. So I'll have to go get me some more tube, and I'll have to do this again at another date. Without further ado, let's get this thing heated up. I will be back to the vise, and we will go ahead and bend it around here for this first bend. Okay, everyone, got that up nice and hot. Go ahead and clamp this tube down. Use a pair of scrolling tongs here and see if I can't get this to start to bend. So far, so good, I think. Whenever you do something like this, you want to take it a little bit at a time. This is obviously not a tubing bender. You got to be careful how much torque and stuff you put on it at a go. So that's actually done really well. That held up good. There's very minimal deforming this way. That's just the thickened part anyhow. And so yeah, that's already getting there. So I think I'm going to take another heat back in here, and we're going to go ahead and bend it around a little more. So this way, that there will match up, if you see how that works. So I'm going to put that up there like so, and then I'm going to continue to tweak this portion on around. Now, last thing real quick. Whenever you're working with pipe, it is important this is a safety thing, so pay attention. Whenever you're working with pipe, it is important to plug one end of the pipe with a plug of some sort. I recommend tissue paper or a wet rag of some kind to stop the chimney effect. I went over this in the Dangers of Forging Pipe video. I'll put a link to that in the description at the end here. But if you stick this end in the fire, it will chimney up through here and get this very hot to where you can't touch it. If you're going to just work with tongs, it's probably no big deal, but I like to hold my stock if I can. You can wrap it with just a paper towel like so, and I actually wetted the end of the paper towel and shoved it up in there, and then went ahead and put this around it. That gives you a comfortable grip that you can get the work done. So there's a little tip there on safety. We'll be right back and we'll continue bending this on around. Alright, here we are with our second heat. I'm going to go ahead and place this out just a little further and then clamp her down again, just like what we did before. And now we're going to slip these in here and we're going to give her a pull again. Ugh. I'm just trying to go slow enough that I don't cause any kinks here. This is essentially the ideal of it. You just want to go slow enough that you don't create any kinking. You want it to get the form you want without the kinks. So there we are. I think that works pretty darn good. That flattened out a little bit, but I'll go to the anvil and I'll show you how you can correct that. We got that pretty good and clean, and that matches the pitch almost perfectly. So that's what we were wanting. So separate that, and I think some of that kinking was probably just from that weak point in the pipe. It forced it to bend uneven. So you can see there's a little bit of a pinch there. We're going to take care of that by squaring this back up over at the anvil's horn. And I'll show you what I mean by that. And then we will go on to bending the next portion, which is going to actually be down in here, and I need to get a little softer bend to it. So, you know, it's going to come like that, kind of curved down, if you will, to keep that in line. Okay, everyone, I got this hot. I'm going to use a rawhide mallet. And I'm going to set this curve, not like this, but I'm just going to rock it up a little bit. And then I'm going to roll it down, just like that. Just kind of like hooking it down and around like that. And that'll take out most of that kink. And almost be, well, it'll be pretty much non-existent for the most part. To the untrained eye, of course. Live in a country where you got blacksmithing standards, this may not pass their journeyman test or master smith qualifications. But hey, that's all right. I don't care about any of those sort of things. I'm an American, right? That's a joke, guys. Just kidding. Keeping you entertained. I like all my foreign smiths out there that subscribe to my channel. You guys are awesome. You bring a whole different flavor to the channel. I like it. So there we are. You can see how I got that bent there. That curve's nice and pretty much where I want it now. So now what I have to do is create, and actually I might go a little more with it. I'm looking at it now. I think it needs to curve just a little bit more. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the opportunity to cool off this bend a little bit so I can heat it right in here and get it to curve over just a little more. Because what I'm trying to do is create this very elegant piece like that. And it's kind of hard to do with this chunky pipe. We'll see how it goes. I think it'll give it an interesting texture though. So I'll go ahead and take another heat. I'll go over the vise. I'll curve it that extra a little bit, and then I'll come back to you guys when we're going the opposite direction. Got this good and hot again. Got where I want to kind of put my bend at. Just going to give this a little bit of a bend. Don't want to give it too much, too soon. Said I just want to kind of get a little bit of a bend going. There we go. So something like that'll work for me. I think that'll work out just right. So there we go. So remember, forging pipe can be fun, but it can also be dangerous. It takes a little extra considerations. You know, at first when I was doing this, I was thinking maybe I need to go out and buy a bender or some sort of tubing bender, something commercially made, this, that, what have you. And it just turns out it was just as cheap and easy to go ahead and make something in-house. Quick and simple. Bend the angle iron to the side, to the shape you want your pipe to be bent. Clamp it in and go to town. And that's a good way of bending up some pipe there. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check in on the next video where we're actually going to forge the bloom of this lamp, which I'm really liking. So it's going to actually be like a flower bloom on the front here. And we're going to tie all this together with our decorative base. We're going to go ahead and tie it into our decorative base. We'll have our flower bloom, a light bulb, we'll wire it, and it's got to be a good time. So thank you all for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that thumbs up. If you disliked it, that thumbs down is always the option. And like always, thank you all to my loyal subscribers. God bless you all and have a great week.